Expecting people coming in this weekend.
Oh, okay.
All right, so we're gonna get all the time. All Eric. We're gonna get all the email. Right.
Mitch. You're muted, so we can't hear the guitar.
Who's muted?
Oh, I didn't know that.
There you are.
And that's always.
Right, time to play. Time to work. Get all my little friendly peeps coming on board. And I see Cameron, and I see Craig Lurch, and I see Dennis.
Cameron, you made it.
Coming in hot.
Lurchy.
What's going on, kids?
Hey, crap, Cameron.
Trying to get Matt on, but there's two people named Matt Battiata on here, so I don't know which one that is.
I think one of them's Aaron, correct? They had the same problem last week, is we had an imposter.
Yeah, there's two Matts on there.
Brian.
And you can never get enough Matt anyway, so. Dennis, how you doing, buddy?
Doing good. How are you?
You know, I'm doing really well.
Good.
It's a really good day today in Florida.
Excellent.
My golf course is calling me. It's like, come golf, come golf. So, while we got a minute, Dennis, you'll appreciate this. I'm playing Islesworth on Monday.
Where's that, Mitch?
That's the one that all the pros play in Windermere.
Oh, awesome.
Mr. Funk got me on. Playing with Jeff, yeah.
Is it
That's a
private?
course you can't get on. I mean, it's easier to get on Bay Hill than you can't get on this course.
Can you
It's
get
that
me on?
private. Huh? No.
You get me on when I come down?
Yeah. I've been trying to get on this course for 10 years.
You can get on my course.
I'm not going to go there, Greg. You guys have like a 2-week golf season when it's warm enough to play.
Hey, no, we only have.
Hey, what's happening? Are you in that room or are you on the wrong Zoom?
I'm really good at being a 28 handicap, Mitch, and I'm proud of it.
I am too. Although I have figured out my jives. Hit my jives like crazy right now.
Okay.
I'm sure everybody on the call wants to listen to our golf game stories.
All right, buddy. Bye-bye.
No, I think it's a story about life, how we just keep at it, no matter how bad a hit. You change your mind, you make a bad hit, you keep being a bad hit all day, or do you fix it and you go on to your next one?
Well, it's funny, you know, I use the 7th hole at the course I play as an example when I teach about mindset. And what it is, like the 7th hole, 80% of the time I hit a great drive. But the first thing I do when I go to get on the tee box is I dwell on the 20%. And that's human nature to go to the negative instead of the positive. So now when I drive up, when I'm driving up to the hole, I'm like down the middle, right there's a house 600 yards away that's look at the puppy. Hi, puppy. Petey's much better than looking at you.
Yeah.
Is that a new team member?
Yep.
That's Callie.
Very cute.
That's Callie, the new team member. She's bringing in all types of listings. I work my dogs bringing listings, just so you guys know.
Should name
You
your
know,
dog
Alex does a
Isbo.
great job.
It's no free rides.
I think you said.
Yeah. You get no kibble without any bits. That's it. All right. That's what I'm
Guys,
talking
good
about.
morning.
Yeah, cool.
I'm having computer issues, so you can hear me, but you can't see me.
Thank
Good.
God. Okay.
Hey, that's a blessing
told
for all of us,
Diane-
Matt.
I told Diane to do that on purpose. No. We don't need another day of Battiata. So.
Matty Ada, we should be doing tequila together. Don Julio 70s.
Oh, I got
Cinco de
it.
Mayo.
Yeah, happy Cinco de Mayo, everyone. As
Yeah.
you know, a lot of us are in San Diego, so that's like a national holiday. Half the people have taken the day off because they take the day off for any reason whatsoever. If the surf's up, they take the day off. If it's Groundhog Day, they take the day off. If it's Flag Day, so today's Cinco de Mayo, everybody will take the day off, which means that we can list more houses. That's what our topic is about today: how to get canceled listings, how to get expired listings, how to get FSBO listings, because that's going to start happening. And we're already seeing it out here with all the adjustments and everything that's going on in the market. So I wanted to start off, and I'm going to go to Mitch because he was on first playing his guitar, offering entertainment as usual. And Mitch, so what's your process with trying to get canceled or expired listings? And then we'll get into FSBOs because that's a little bit different.
Actually, I'm gonna go to FSBOs because that's my specialty.
Okay, then let me circle back around to you. Let me go to Cameron because he's under the weather, but he's still looking good. It's all in your mind, my brother. It's all in your mind. So listen, how are you getting canceled and expired listings? What's your process?
So the best process for expired listings, and I'm going to be real short, kind of short of breath today, so I want to be real short. What we're doing, because we only have maybe 1 or 2 expired listings a day right now, it's just there's nothing expired, is if you go back in your MLS, you can go back 24 months or 36 months, and you can start circle dialing those people. What I am finding though, is we're having more success with listings, circle dialing new listings than we are trying to get back with old expireds. But again, it's just another avenue that you can work on or you can add to your repertoire. Yeah, that's the best thing that I can advise today is if you don't have expireds, go back a year and a half, because those people did want to sell. And most likely they still do. Now, whatever their problem was, that's going to be your job, and that's going to be why you get paid the big bucks, because you got to solve that problem, right? Most of the time, what you're going to hear is, well, we had no place to move, we can't have, and it's just gotten worse since. We've talked about this in detail, guys, on the different solutions that we have for buy-in programs where you can buy before you sell. There's all kinds of stuff that we've given you guys in these masterminds to solve those problems. But that's going to be the challenge with those expireds, is that they have some type of oddity. For sale by owners, I don't work for sale by owners, so I'm going to let Mitch handle that one, and I would love to listen to him. But I just want to be real short because I'm feeling like shake, guys. But anyways, thanks, Pete.
All right, awesome, buddy. Okay, so I'm going to go right around the horn. I'm going to go to Dennis. He's got his nice sweater on today because it's a really cold 68 degrees in San Diego right now. It'll probably get up to 75. Don't want to bother anybody on the other parts of the country, but that's how we roll out here. Dennis, so what's your process for getting expireds or canceled listings?
Yep. So it's been quite a while, obviously, since any of us have really done that. So, or at least I have. So we do a series of, this is a copy of it because we're getting them redone. It's kind of like this, and we have our guaranteed sale, URL at the very bottom. It's myhomesaleguarantee.com. Okay. Maybe on the next mastermind, I'll have them all printed out for you. We're having them all completely redone, but they basically it's a series of 12 postcards, I believe, and my assistant has it in his database, and he would just pull expireds off of Mojo daily, and we would just send them out. So it just kind of emphasized that, hey, these people couldn't sell their house, I sold it for them. This person couldn't sell their house, I sold it for them. Just over each postcard, just shoving it down their throat that, hey, whatever agent you had couldn't get it done, I can get it done because look at this guy. And they're all testimonial kind of based. So that worked really, really well. And this was back in, 2013, 14, we were pushing that pretty hard. And since then, we really haven't done it much. Obviously, there's not a lot of expireds, but that was our system. So it's kind of labor intensive. It's not just calling people. I would send them out fish. They would call me. That's the way I've always been a direct marketing kind of person. So.
You follow up with phone calls after you mailed it to a certain area, or, well, I shouldn't say area, to specific people. Would you get their information and call them or not?
No, they would call me. So we'd have a specific 800 number on there that they would call, and it would track their phone number. So, if we happen to miss the call, we can always call them back that way.
Okay.
So it's literally like fishing. We put a bunch of lines in the water, and it's labor intensive, and my assistant had to do it. And it took, a couple hours a day to do this process, but we used to get a lot of listings that way. So it worked well, and we're gonna revamp that now because, what we expect is some expired listings coming to market, especially in the lower price ranges. The upper price ranges still are showing robust strength, as you could tell, Pete. But the lower price range, anything under $1 million here in San Diego we're starting to see some price breaks. It's sitting on the market a little longer, so it's coming. There's no doubt about it. So,
and you have to remember too, guys, a lot of people are mispricing houses, so
Yep.
they're being overpromised and underdelivered. So what's happening a lot, and what I'm seeing even in our markets, is sellers getting frustrated. They're getting really frustrated because they feel as if they were sold a bag of goods that is not aligning with what they're seeing in the news or hearing from friends. And when they're told, hey, you have to price it here, or we can definitely get you this, and then it's coming up short, they get really frustrated and they lose faith in that agent. So I'm seeing a lot of cancellations where it's not where they don't want to sell. They just don't want to sell with that agent because they don't believe in that agent, unfortunately. So be really careful with what you promise. That's a big, big thing. Let's go out to Philly to Craig Lurch. Lurch,
Hey, Craig, right before you jump in,
Philly, how the
Pete-
Phillies doing?
Doing pretty
ahead,
good,
Cam.
I guess.
Hold on,
Yeah,
hold on.
Pete,
Cam wanted to add
yeah,
something.
Craig, I really want to add something to that point you just made there about, if you had a bad experience with a previous agent, one of the most important questions all of us need to ask when you're doing your pre-qual is, what did your last agent do that you loved, right? That's going to give you ammo to what you're going to do. And then right after that, okay, yeah, you kind of just brush that off, right? Yeah, great. What did your last agent do that you hated? And then they'll tell you everything not to do, right? Biggest question I've ever asked, and it's very important. So I'm sorry for interrupting there, but I want to make sure everyone knows. Ask what they loved and what the last agent did that they hated, and it'll give you guidelines for your listing presentation.
That's great input, Cam, and that was with him being short of breath. You should see when he has his full breath. There's all types of questions running. All right, Lurchy, you're
Yeah,
out.
Cam, you
you're
nailed
out
that
the-
one.
The Philly fanatic. All right, let me know. I know you're a fanatic to make things happen. How are you getting canceled and expired listings?
There you go, Cameron. That is a huge point. Biggest thing is that when anybody else is failing, try to figure out what they failed at and what they were. When I always talk to my clients, I always say, look, you may or may not have some experiences in what's going on. What are the top 3 things that you're looking for in a realtor? And if you tell me you don't know, we have a problem, because that means you really haven't done homework of what you really want. Because then I can gauge things to them. And given the platinum rule versus the gold rule, the way I want it, which is the golden rule, the platinum rule is the way they want it. So I focus really big on that stuff. I don't really chase FSBOs. FSBOs are like lions, they're young. I don't need to deal with them. Go over there, ask Jay from Blindside. All right. All they do is they wear on and take down for you. It's like toxic people in my world. But they will call you if you've sold some homes in the area because they want your information. So what I've done is I've worked with them a little bit that if I bring the buyer, can I sell it? And by the way, you're going to give me also some money on your side to do the work. So those ways I've worked with for sale by owners, but I don't market them. I can't wait to hear about Mitch's. As far as the expireds go, literally second it hits, we hit all 10 houses on both sides. We take the expired plus the other houses. So they're not saying we're hitting just them, because the odds are they saw that house done. One of their neighbors may not be moving. So if you're going to do a mailing, hit 5 or 10 on each side, because the odds are one of them may be moving because they saw that come down and they either think it's sold or whatever other reason. But we found it. We've gotten listings from other houses around expireds because those people finally found out what the reality in life is. So those are the only 2 things that I really do here in the Philly area. I don't call. I don't have the time, and I really don't have the patience to be dialing and dialing and dialing and dialing. So,
yeah, I think we're going to see this a lot, where a lot of cancels are going to come up and withdrawals because people are going to lose faith, or they're going to reassess what they want to do, especially with the rates and the economy and the stock market and all these types of things that are going on, creating uncertainty. Let's go out to Brian Yarber. He's in Montana, fly fishing. He put down his fly fishing rod and he's back to shore.
Yeah.
Right? So what do we do to get, enlighten everyone, if you have a step-by-step process or what you guys have used in the past to get canceled and expired listings?
Well, I'm going to let Randy handle part of that, Pete, but what I'm going to do is give you a couple ninja scripts that they're timeless. And if it looks like there's over 50 people on here, so I'm going to speak to maybe some of the newer people and then some of the experienced people who forgot some of these tips. Okay, so for the expired listing, there's a lot of scripts that you can find. Google them, go after them, whatever. But what I learned was you have to have one you have a lot of confidence in. So the first thing that we taught our agents to do is to create a quick book. It's a listing book that doesn't have a listing presentation, and it's called a confidence book. That confidence book is just about you, your team, and some things about it, because you're going to be confronted by a seller if you do use these scripts, because the goal of these scripts is to get you in front of the seller. You need to be in the house. You need to be in front of a seller to win the deal if you're a newer agent. You can't compete with a lot of the scripts that we're hearing here over the telephone with advanced agents. So the goal was for the newer agent, and I taught this to my wife, and she used it in 2005 in her first year in the business, and all she did was attack FSBOs and expireds and got 7 listings out of 10 tries. And what it was very simple. She'd call the seller and say, hey, my name's Leanne. I'm with Briley Properties, and we sell a lot of homes. I'm working with a few buyers. I see you're selling a home. You don't have any pictures that I can see. I'd love to swing by and take a tour of your house so I can share it with our available qualified buyers. When would be a good time to swing by? Later today or tomorrow afternoon? Pause. And then she'd get every kind of objection. Oh, we're not going to list our house. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do this. Whatever it was, she was armed with kryptonite, because her next thing was, hey, I'm glad that you're being this serious about selling your home, and you're not just going to give it up to any agent. I'm telling you, I don't want a listing. I just want to share it with my buyers. I just need to stop by and see it. I want to grab a picture or two, a wow picture, something I can sell your house with to our available. And if I can't sell it to my buyer list, I'm going to share it in my office meeting. I'm not going to tell them your address or your phone number, but I'm going to tell them I have access to a property that I've got a serious seller that I know. Before she left the house, she would do this in 5 minutes. Before she left the house, almost every single time, the person she was in front of would ask her, hey, do you happen to have, or do you list properties? And she'd say, yes, but that's not why I'm here. She would posture, because I was the listing agent. She was just the attacker. And what she would do is she'd say, yes, but I promise you that's not why I'm here. I'm not here to take a listing. I'm just here to share this property with our clients. But if you'd like, here's my book. She'd leave her confidence book behind, share it with your parents, your father, whoever your decision makers are, and leave and get out of there quickly. Honor the fact that she was there to look at the house. And then we would do the follow-up together, and we would list, and typically we would have staging furniture in a warehouse that we would also offer to stage their home for free, because that's what we could do back in the day. So that was a really good FSBO script that it worked with expireds, because with an expired, you tweaked it just enough to say, hey, typically you were confronted by an angry seller and say, well, why weren't you here when my house was on the market? That was like, how come you didn't see it when it was on the market? Why are you calling me now? What are you going to try to sell me something new? And she'd say, no, actually, I'm a newer agent. I have a buyer's list. I'm just trying to find a property. I see some pictures in here of your property. I just want to know, have you sold it yet? And then get quiet. No, we haven't sold it yet. Okay, great. Well, I just would love to stop by and preview it before you list it again with your agent or whoever you're going to list with. I just need to see it. Again, get in front of them. What she would do is she would get in front of them. She would posture in such a way she was not there for a listing. And literally, she listed 7 out of 10 her first year doing this, okay? Because there wasn't a lot to choose from. I'm gonna throw in a bonus script, Pete. Do I have 30 seconds?
Go ahead.
Okay, anybody on this list, any participants who are doing open houses, because it's a great open house market time, what you're gonna find out is at every open house, the area expert will show up. The area expert is that neighbor that wanted to see the house, that hadn't seen it since it got renovated or hadn't seen it in 20 years. They knew the seller, whatever it is. When you identify the area expert, when they show up, the question you want to ask them, hey, you clearly know a lot of information about this neighborhood, and ask them to share with you some things about the neighborhood that they like most, because you need this for ammunition for the rest of your open house. and ask them some questions that maybe you don't know the answers to that have been asked of you that you need to find out so you can call people back. Now you'll ask the area expert. And then the bonus question is this: when they decide to leave or when they're out of there, say, hey, before you leave, I wrote this down verbatim. Before you leave, if you were me and you had your real estate license, which one of your neighbors would you go talk to about selling?
Like that.
They're-
I
What
like
they're going
that.
to do is
That's a great one.
they're going to say, you know what, Mrs. Johnson's husband passed away last year. All our kids are out of state. They're gone. It's way too big of a house. I know she can't take care of it much longer. I would go talk to her, and all I would say is, great. You know, can I let her know you asked me to go speak to her about selling her home? Bam, listing appointment.
That's so funny. See, I say it a little bit different. I say, which neighbor do you want to get rid of? Right?
Yeah.
Who do you want to get rid of who you don't like in the neighborhood? I can accomplish that for you immediately, confidentially.
That's the
You
difference
can
between
tell me
East
who they
Coast.
hate or who drives them crazy.
Yeah. That's East Coast and West Coast, like Randy.
Yeah, two different approaches, but they all work. They all
They all
get
work. Everything works. Just keep asking
Don't throw
questions.
me in that group.
Hey, let's we have a lot of East Coast, a lot of West Coast. We have Midwest on the call. I love it. Everybody's sharing some great stuff. We got some nuggets today. I can tell that everybody had their coffee today because they're wide awake and fired up. Mitch was playing music. I'm going to go over to Randy Zimnich. He's over on the beach still. He's the only guy with an 8-month-old on the beach. I don't know how he accomplished that. Randy, how are you guys getting canceled or expired listings? I know that you usually have the angle with the flipping angle or refurbishing or helping people fix up their houses. You know, share with everybody on this call the nuggets that you use to be the forefront or the front runner for them to choose you to give it another try and sell their house.
Yeah, so I'll take it from that angle, from the investor angle, which is kind of like the back door to a listing in many ways. And what I mean by that is when you do see expired or canceled listings, specifically, we would target the ones that obviously need work, right? So we would not really waste our time with the ones that were fully updated or renovated because there's no opportunity there for an investor. But the ones that need work, that tells me one thing, right? That the seller was either overly optimistic or the agent just kind of told them what, you know, they want to hear and not necessarily what they should hear, right? About the value of their home, just so they could take a listing. So now you have this frustrated seller. And it's interestingly because a lot of agents and investors would think, well, oh man, this is listed like $100,000 over what I would offer. And they disregard it, right? Because of that. However, it doesn't necessarily mean that the seller will not take your offer $100,000 less now, right? Now that they've been exposed to the market, they got no hits, no offers. Now they're frustrated, and who knows what other circumstance changes in their life. And then next thing you know, they get a letter from you, the investor cash buyer, no commissions, blah, 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 the whole standard language that we use. And now you're talking to them, and next thing you know, they're taking your cash offer $100,000 less than what it was listed at, right? So my advice to you is, if you are working with investors as an agent, don't discount those overpriced, canceled, and expired listings, even if it's like 100,000, 150, literally above what your investor would pay. Don't disregard them. Still mail to those from an investor standpoint. And then, however, also you might want to know this is that 1 out of 10 calls that the investor will get on that particular postcard or letter that you will send when you team up with investors, because that's what I teach as agents, team up with investors on these marketing pieces, is that 1 out of 10, that investor might actually be able to buy. The other 9 are actual listing opportunities, and this is where you come in as the agent, right? So if the investor gets a hold of these people, whoever it is, I can guarantee you that out of 10 calls they'll have, 9 will probably be listing opportunities. And that's where you teach the investor how to actually edify you. How do they talk about you as an amazing agent, right? Nothing better than someone else telling a potential client how great you are as an agent, right? And versus you telling them how great you are. It's not the same. So you just have to be aligned with the investor and telling them and literally giving them the script on how you would like to be introduced and as your experience. And, so my simple script was always like, look, investor, here's what you say. He's like, look, I sell all my houses with Randy. Like, he is absolutely amazing. Like, I ask him about value analysis on every property we buy. I recommend it to all my friends and family. He lists all of my flips, like an amazing guy. You really got to give him an opportunity just to talk to him. Just listen to him. Trust me, you will not be disappointed. That's it. Just simple, few sentences. And then I would tell the investor to follow that up with, look, I'm actually meeting with Randy later today. Is it okay if I give your number to Randy so he can reach out to you? Is that okay? I will never tell the investor to be like, oh, give them my information. And then now it's like, who has my information? And they're not going to call me. The sellers are not going to call the agent. So I always say, like, you need to get their permission for me to call them, not the other way around. Now, you can give them my information. That's not a problem, but don't hang up unless you get them to tell you, yes, that's okay. I would love to talk to Randy, and I want to hear more about what he's got to say. You have such great things to say about him. Yes, why not? So that's how I would handle the transfer of that listing opportunity, and then I'll take over from there. So anyway, I was on both sides, so I kind of know both sides of the equation, right? I was the investor, and now I'm also the agent, and so I can speak from both angles. But that would be my way of taking it from a very different angle, but yeah, very effective.
Yeah, I think that third-party approach with the edification process is a huge thing, because it's validating you to them without you validating you to them, because they're not going to believe you because you're an agent, and all agents lie, right? So I think that's a really cool approach. And I would probably even add in and have the investor say, hey, I have this great guy. He's really honest. I've done a lot of business with him, and he always has highly qualified buyers ready to go. So it's somebody who delivers on his word, and that's, I think, the bridge or the connection there. Now, I was going to go over to one of our special guests, Dave Lawson, who's out of Park City, who's a gigantic agent, national coach with Ingalls and Volkers. Dave's a great guy, and he has probably trained thousands of people on this discussion on how to go get listings. Dave takes 100 listings a year, and I don't know if he's doing, the same system that the real estate guy is doing. He's dropping off all these pies, or if he owns a pie shop. We're going to get to the bottom of this, right? So Dave, how are you taking 100 listings a year? And when you come across canceled and expired or FSBOs, how do you handle that?
All right. Well, I have a process, because we all have to have a process, right, Pete?
Always.
So one of the things that I do is I try to do things that are different. So the first thing I do is I have this. It's just a one-page letter. It's called Just the Facts. So why would you hire me? One, I get you more money. Two, I spend more money on Zillow. Three, I'm the exclusive agent in Utah for the TV show on ABC TV, Real Estate Essentials. We've sold over 2,900 properties in Park City, so we have a little bit of experience, and especially since there's only about 9,000 properties there. And we have over 500 five-star reviews on Zillow. And we have an easy exit listing agreement that simply says, we're so confident you'll love our service that for any reason whatsoever you're dissatisfied, simply withdraw your listing. And at the bottom of the letter, it just says, without boasting too much, we're the #1 team worldwide at Ingalls and Volkers. So I don't know what you guys do, but what you need to do is take the things that you do that are different. People are not going to hire you or me because of the things that we all do the same. They're going to hire you because the things you do different. Then, and by the way,
they've already tried the other stuff. It didn't work.
Yeah. The other thing is I can't remember the guy from Philly's name, but you said I'm not going to sit on the phone and make phone calls all day. I have my ISA call. Okay. And what he is very simple. He's not trying to get the listing. He's not trying to find out anything. He's like, hey, I notice your home hasn't sold. If you want to get your home sold, you need to talk to David Lawson. He specializes in selling properties that other people couldn't. When would you like to, when would you like me to connect you with him? Okay, I'm going to show you a show-stopping piece. Okay, so I don't know if you can see this. This right here is a standard letter envelope. Okay, and now I'm going to show you a marketing piece that is quite a bit bigger. So this is called a number 16 envelope. Okay, and what you can see is it is a size, it's hard to see on here, but it's a size of a piece of mail that you have never received in your entire life. These cost almost $1 a piece. And then you have a 8.5 by 11 brochure. Okay, so you do an 8.5 brochure, you fold it in half, and you stick that in this number 16 envelope. This piece I send out to everybody. And the thing that's so incredibly good about it is this. I show up and I see these from a month, a week or month ago, a year or two ago. They keep this piece. If you get this piece of mail, you will open it. All right. And then the last thing I do is I will send them a copy of my entire listing presentation.
You send that via email or do you send it via mail?
What we do, well, we try to get their email. So my ISA, you know, right. And we use different skip tracing services, and we try to find their email address because and then we also can market them through email. But yeah, then you can also just mail it. Now in Park City, Utah, 2/3 of all the homes are second homes. And so, you know, we got to do a lot of stuff over the phone and with mail.
And you guys, you can do that over the phone. You can do that presentation. If you can't get in front of them belly to belly, you could do it through Zoom. You could do it through FaceTime. You could do it while you're in the house and FaceTime them. You could do it through, I think, Loom. I mean, there's all types of different apps and software that you can use to get in front of people and ask them questions and connect with them. The big thing is to connect and get their guard down, because they're guarded, because they've been either lied to, that's a strong word, but they've been offered a bag of goods that nobody showed up and delivered them, right? So they've been overpromised and underdelivered. You want to under promise and over deliver. So I think that's the big thing. Dave's an expert on this. Dave, give everybody that tip, which I think is a phenomenal tip when you have somebody's email to generate interest in selling their house or knowing somebody that wants to sell their house. What do you send them in that email?
Okay. So you guys have to understand, if you want, what it determines whether an email gets opened or not. Anybody? It's the
subject line. Subject line. Yeah.
There you go. I knew
That's
Bridget
exactly
Young was
right.
on top of it today. Ray of
So-
sunshine.
So Pete, what's your home address?
My home address is 848 Prospect Street.
Okay. So
That's a very sexy address, by the way.
That's right.
yes, I've been there. I was there last week. If you put the client's home address in the subject line, that email gets opened by a factor of 4. 18% of emails get opened. That means, you know, 82% of all the emails you send somebody get trashed. So do something. Never send an email unless it in the subject line There is a reason for somebody to open the email. And Pete, if I send to you 848 prospector, Lawson team information, you're going to save it. You're going to open it. And then I'm going to ask you if you know anybody that's interested in buying or selling or investing in real estate. I'd like you to forward this on to them and send it to me as well. So it's a whole process. It takes time. So far this month, I've had 4 people call me through different things that I've done over and over. And they just say, come over, list my house, or let's get on a Zoom. And if you do this over a long period of time, you can easily take 100 listings a year. I mean, people think it's hard, but it's simple. But you just have to do all of the work to get this whole thing going. So do it.
You have to be a process. You have to be consistent. And Dave does that, you guys, every month to every person he has, every connection, every sphere of influence, every past client, everybody he knows. And that's how he structures it. And it's real easy. Look, he's as cool as the other side of the pillow, right? It's just real easy, real smooth. Hey, I'm here. I'm a resource. I'm going to take care of it. Pass this along. Just CC me on it and I'll take it from there and so forth. And when somebody does send you a listing or says, come over and list my house, I'm sure you're always asking who referred you or who put you in contact with them, because this can happen on canceled and expireds also, you guys, because neighbors and friends talk, they bump into things and they say, oh, you were trying to sell your house. Well, you had the wrong person. You got to call Dave Lawson, right? Dave, the legend Lawson will get your house sold. That's what they're going to say. So that's a big thing. And then they have firepower to pass along. Oh, Dave just sent me an email with this whole listing presentation, all the things he does differently. Let me just forward it on to you, because that's not a huge obstacle. They're not threatened by that. They're not going to try to get sold. They're getting information. They're getting opportunities, and that's what they look for. I love that, Dave. That's awesome.
Yeah, well, third-party validation works so well, right? When somebody, if I tell Pete I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread, he's like, yeah, well, everybody is. But when I say Pete is the best agent that I know in La Jolla, and you need to talk to him, then that goes a long way. It's why with my ISAs, I don't have them try to sell, or I don't have them do anything. I try to get them to set up a Zoom meeting with me, period. That's their whole goal. And then when you're not trying to sell, then guess what they do? Well, tell me a little bit about him. And so I trained my agents to have this in front of them, just the facts. And so, well, what would you like to know? And they say, well, you say you get more money. How do you do it? Well, I took 6 years of all the sales on the MLS. David did. He compared it to the 6 years of all the sales on the Lawson team. So look at me, gang. Look at how I present this in front of somebody, Zoom or in front. I took all the listings, take your hands as wide as they can, all of the sales for 6 years. Then I compared them to the Lawson team sales. So what is that saying? I'm selling half of the property in all of Park City, right? That's the visual, right? And then I get you 2.24% more money, right? Or they'll say, what do you spend on Zillow? Or, we've sold over 2,900 properties, and then I downplay it. I mean, so we have a little experience, there's 9,000 homes and we've only sold 2,900 of them, right?
You talk about humility. Humility goes a long way.
Yeah. You talk about, the team, my team is well-trained. They get 3.5 hours of training from me every week. That's how come my team is so good. And, and believe me, Pete, it's not about me. We're the number one agent, or the number one team worldwide in England Volkers for one reason. It's not me. It's my phenomenal team. So what did I just do? Right? I bragged without bragging. I made a statement but I'm humble about it. It's not about me at all, right? And then I say, especially if they're out of town and they don't, or because in my town, a lot of people, most people that live, everybody that lives here pretty much knows me, right? But a lot of these people we're talking to, they live in La Jolla or Philadelphia or Florida or wherever, right? 2/3 of all of our sales are out of state. So what do you want to do? You want to present, and you want to give them like no options, that there's not an option that you don't want to talk to me or at least consider me. And then what I do is every one of you should have an easy exit listing agreement. And notice how I do it. I say, Pete. So like I'm talking to Pete. Pete, and you have to memorize it. You have to say it like it's so powerful. And I say, I've given this to every listing that I've had in decades and decades. And it simply says, and then you say it really fast, because you want them to understand and know that this is something that you really do. It simply says, we're so confident you love our service that for any reason whatsoever you're dissatisfied, simply withdraw your listing. No hassle, no offense, no comparison, no obligation. Now, Pete, we've only met each other now. We've only been on the phone for 10 minutes, but I want you to know that we are going to stand by everything. So when you're comparing other agents and then you want to talk to me, I want you to do something. I want you to look at their marketing plan and what they're doing versus ours. And if we're not light years ahead of them, I want you to just go ahead and list with them. And if it's a friend, a neighbor, an expert in the area, somebody they've been referred to, use that term. Pete, if I'm not, after you look at the stuff we do versus them, if we're not light years ahead of them, you should use your friend. You should use your neighbor. You should, just because there's a sign down the street, then, use them. But what are you really hearing when I say that?
Well, you're hearing that you're the clear choice.
Yeah, exactly. Because
and you're not threatened.
Do you want to hire the person that is light years ahead of everybody else, or just somebody that is not, for instance? Okay.
Love that. That's great stuff, Dave. Dave's coming in. Look at, he's slinging gold nuggets out of those hills of Park City. He must have a mine, a real estate mine. Something, he's discovering gold. Okay, I'm going to move from Dave. Dave, we may come back to you. I'm going to go over to Sunshine in San Diego. Bridget Young, she does luxury real estate. She does commercial. She deals with this a lot because she gets handed a lot of people who were overpromised, underdelivered, and she comes in and makes it happen. Bridget, so how do you handle when somebody is coming to you and they kind of scorn, they're a little hurt, they have their guard up and they're thinking, do I even sell? Do I want to go through this? It was a huge pain in the ass. I had a terrible experience. How do you get them to reset and believe in what you're doing so you can take their canceled listing, get it back on the market, or get the expired back on the market and get them realistic about selling?
Yeah, I mean, the number one thing that we need to be after getting the appointment is we need to be authentic and trustworthy. You have to walk in, guard down, 100%. It is about you, your goals, your timeline, and I am here to protect all of that and make sure that happens. And then the thing that I always do when I'm prepared to go to a listing is I dig through that expired. I know the photos, the comments, the MLS. So I'm always prepared to say, this is what I'm going to do differently. I see some holes. And maybe it's the ugliest curtains. I had a neighbor who listed with somebody else, and she had a very country style and a very contemporary house. And when you're marketing, photos bring buyers. So you always want to be prepared to say, this is how we would do it differently. Maybe we need paint. Maybe we take this down. Sorry, you don't want a stage, but your comfy couch is too big for this room. We need to show space in the room. So I'm all about always focusing on number one, again, this is your goal, your timeline. I will get you the highest price possible if you follow me. And the photos are always a really big piece because it's marketing. What do photos do? Photos bring buyers. Any agent that puts a property on the phone with MLS photos, even though our iPhone 12 Pros are great, I was gonna say should be shot, but that's a little aggressive, but you just can't, you shouldn't do it. Our job as agents is to market the property to show it in its best ability to bring buyers. So that's one of the things that I always offer the seller is bring buyers. I do open houses. I do my own open house. My husband says I should live in open houses. Like a Saturday, he's like, why are you here? Why aren't you at an open house? Because I love meeting people. And I get a lot of business from open houses because I'm authentic, right? And you need to be authentic. You need to be who you are. Be relaxed. You're there to answer questions, help people make their goals. If this isn't the right house for you in an open house, then let me show you everything else in the area. What are you looking for? So not to digress from expired, but it's really everything, right? We get an expired, we get in that house, and then we start trying to find the buyer for that house, and then meeting the needs of every single person you talk to in the real estate space, right? Everybody has their goals. I have a little flyer. So, David has done a ton of research and marketing, and I've gleaned so much from you today, David. But not everybody has the budget to do so, right? So there's sweat equity and there's check equity. And some people, even Dennis, you could do the campaigns, we could do guerrilla marketing, direct mailing. Not everybody on this call might have that budget. And one of the things that I've done and had success with is I created a little flyer and drop this off daily. And it's just super simple. It could be way better. I'm going to add things I've learned today. But it says, we know you're interested in selling. Let a professional guide you. And I could probably get a PDF of this. And then what I've done, this is for canceled or expired, and it has a little sold sign and a little, I'm here on the phone, actually, that's me on the app. And then we're offering a rebate, and I don't discount my fees typically because I know my value and I can sell around people that discount their fees. That if somebody's asking you about discounting their fees and you're a listing agent, ask them, why would you want someone to list the house that doesn't know the value of themselves and their profession? And you think they're going to bring you the top dollar for your, property. If they don't know their value, how do they know the value of your house? People that are discount brokers, they just want to take the first offer that comes along. They do not care about getting you the top dollar. And then I always tell them, I will pay for myself. Hands over fist. And anyway, so that's just one thing. So I don't typically discount agents out there. Don't discount your fees. Know your value. Stand strong in it. Stand strong in it. Most of these open doors and Redfins, they're on a salary. Like, seriously, I get paid when I sell your house. 100% commission. I need to do my job and I need to make you happy. And I typically work almost by referral only. So, let those sellers trust you. So back to my little flyer, I'm offering a rebate and then 5-day offer. So this gives them a little, timeline to call. And then a little referral, thanks to Bridget Young. My house sold in just 4 days, closed escrow in 21. 2 offers came in immediately after a Sunday open house. It was very well marketed, So that referral, that testimony, and just a little, picture of yourself, and it's not super complicated, but you could pull the expireds in your area daily and get this to the door. And you could put this in like a priority mail package. I think they might be free at the post office. And then people are gonna, you want to talk about open rate? There's a priority mail bag on your doorstep. They're gonna open it. So again, it's not very costly. It's not the big guerrilla marketing, but it's something that you could do local in your community, just a few city radius, and you can have an assistant do it. You just need someone to drop that off for you and then just be ready to answer that call. So that's one of the things that I've done for expires that have worked. And again, yeah, there's going to be, people are disappointed, and it's a really funky market right now. We're in the in-between, right? What is that? Stranger Things, right? We're in like the in-between world. Rates are going up, people are still buying, but you know, we're all adjusting. So so that's what I have to say about expireds. And it really works for canceled too. So yeah.
If I looked
Any
like
questions?
Bridget, I would get every expired and canceled on the West Coast. So that's why I'm going to put her picture on all my stuff and just say real estate causes people to go through a lot of changes. So that's what I'm going to do. The big thing is this, and I loved what you have to say, because there are a lot of people out there that are just starting. They don't have that marketing budget. Guys, you can do this where you get those printed up and you can stuff them yourself and have it in the back of your car in a box ready to go, and just check the canceled and expireds every day and drive out there and knock on their door and say, look, I would love to help you. Here's something, an opportunity for you, and see what they say. You know, but you got to get in front of them. That's the key.
I started with sweat equity, and you know, I have climbed and fought and battled and, you know, doing really well, but that's hard work and grit and not breaking down and executing. You have an idea, you know, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, start executing that idea. No ideas are dumb. Go for it. Just do the work, plant the seeds. And I used my sons like, hey, mama needs this dropped off in this neighborhood, you know, and so, you know, there are people actually that you can hire too that'll go, you know, drop off flyers for you if you're planning a big neighborhood that are less cost than mail and printing. And so just, it is important, and everybody's at a different level. But this works. And being the number one thing I can say is be authentic, really, you know, be just trustworthy. That's what a seller wants. They want to trust you. And there's a lot of agents. If you don't trust your agent, I always tell them, if you don't trust and love your agent, get someone else. There's too many out there. So
it's a team effort, you guys. You're on their team. You have to get on their side and put your socks in their shoes and understand what they've just been through, right? They've been through a traumatic experience. They have, you know, PTSD, post-traumatic selling disorder, right? And
yeah.
I just made that up. I'm quick on the fly today. I've already had 3 giant cups of green tea. So look, when you have post-traumatic selling disorder, you have to get into their brain, get on their side, put your socks in their shoes, experience what they experience, and then bring them back down and say, look, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to take care of it. And you have to over communicate. A lot of times it was because they were not communicated with, and they weren't communicated with authentically, like Bridget's saying. But I love that flyer, Bridget. If you can get me that PDF, I'll put it on the tribe site, or we can get it out to anybody on this call, because I want everybody to get value out of this. I want you to get nuggets that you can put into action today to 5, 10x your production. Because trust me, when you 5 or 10x your production, all your worries melt away. You heard that from Papa Pete. Okay, so that's the big deal. Bridget, great stuff. Let's go over to Matt Battiata. We can't get his. Go.
Hold on,
Frank Lurch is jumping in.
Philly. Bridget, you're a beautiful lady in California. I don't look that good, so I use these envelopes to go out.
See, he's very colorful. He
Send
needs
him
color on
colorful.
his side.
This is the best one though. That one everybody opens.
Everybody loves the silver one. Yeah, because it's fancy. They think they're going to be invited to some roller skating party at a roller rink with you or something in Philly, where they're going to get free cheesesteaks. I'd open that in a second. You know, another thing you can do that somebody else I've had that I know on the high end, on the luxury side, what they did is they had a really nice brochure, and they would put it in black or gold envelopes and they would hire somebody either through TaskRabbit or one of these other online places, and they would do calligraphy, kind of like a wedding invite, right? Because everybody opens a wedding invite. You don't necessarily want to go to the wedding, but you want to know who's taking the leap of faith, right? So, because it takes you back to times in your life. So everybody will open that, especially if it's a nice feel and a nice look, and it precedes you into the door, right? So it's, if you have a really nice brochure that you make with a nice texture feel, and it shows what you do differently and how you're going to benefit them and how you do the marketing and separate yourself from the pack, that's a big, big thing. I want to go over to Matt Battiata. He couldn't get his camera working, thank God, right? And Matt's going to share what is he doing with canceled listings and expired listings, because he's a machine with getting listings. So Matt, give people some tips on what they can put into production today. And I'll mention this before Matt gets on. Everything everybody's sharing today, you guys, they're opening up their playbook for you. You have to have a system and you have to be consistent. It doesn't just happen on the first try. It may happen on the 10th try. It may happen on the 100th, the thousandth, the 10,000th try. You have to be consistent, believe in it, and go for it and keep doing it consistently. Go ahead, Maddie.
Hey, thanks, Pete. You know, so I'm trying to think back. I mean, I have not worked expireds and canceleds in so long, but I do remember when I used to, I did a lot of variations on all the themes that everybody's talked about today. So I definitely remember we used to deliver a packet. We used to use, you can get those overnight FedEx packages or whatever at the post office for free. You can put whatever, you know, I think the biggest thing is you want to make yourself different. So we talked about, you know, creating your USP, your unique selling proposition. You know, expireds and canceleds, you know, their home didn't sell, and what they want is somebody who can come in and give them some sort of a guarantee that they can do better, right? So I think you want to use testimonials. You want to, I used to have a bunch of testimonials about literally from expired and canceled listings that, you know, we were on the market for 6 months, or we were on the market for 3 months and the house didn't sell, and Matt came in and sold it for more in a week, et cetera. So you want to use, I mean, I think that goes to what David was talking about, third-party validation. If you have testimonials from past clients, especially past clients that were expireds and canceleds, you want to utilize those. You know, I guess calling people still works. I used to do that years ago. I don't think I would do it now. I think nowadays I would literally, my recommendation for people on this call, I see we've got a lot of people on here, is literally just to pick the expireds that you want to go after and have something delivered to their door, because they get really, really beat up and frustrated. Most of them are not expecting to get, you know, 40 or 50 phone calls the morning that their listing expires, And if you are going to call them, I would say, do not call them up saying, hey, I can sell your house, because that's what everybody who's calling them is saying. What you want to do, the goal is to get in front of these people. So if you are going to call them, you just want to say, hey, I noticed your home didn't sell. I'd love to come and take a look at it and see if it's a match for any of our buyers. We work with lots of buyers. You just want to get in the door, right? But a lot of times once people start getting those phone calls, it's just a nightmare for them, because they've been, you know, I remember once I had a listing appointment, and the woman had been on the market for like 6 months. And she said, I never forget, she said, you know, it's like every day you're preparing for a party and the guests never arrive. And I used to use that in some of my marketing to expireds, because I know it resonates with people that have had their house on the market forever. So the bottom line is you want to make yourself different. You want to get in front of them. So you either want to drop something off. If you're going to call them, your goal, you do not want to use the Mike Ferry script, which is, you know, when are you planning on interviewing agents and yada, yada, yada. You got to make yourself different. And the goal is simply to get in front of them. And the easiest way I would say to do that is to say, I just want to come over and take a look at your house and see if it's a match for any of our clients. That's it. You just want to get in front of them. They don't want to hear that you can sell your house, because their attitude is going to be really, well, where were you for the last 60 days or 6 months or 3 months when my house was on the market, right? So, you know, expireds and canceleds are a difficult, I mean, they work, everything works if you do it, right? So if you want to call expireds every morning, you'll get listings. If you want to mail to expireds, you'll get listings. If you want to go knock on their door. I mean, I used to also sometimes get in the car about 10 in the morning and pick the listings the expireds that I wanted to go after and go literally knock on their door. I mean, they're going to be a lot nicer to you at the front door, believe it or not, than they will over the phone. So it's just about creating a plan and going after it. And then once you do get in front of that prospect, whether it's on a Zoom call or in front of them or on the phone, you've got to have something that makes you different than the competition. What are you going to do different than the competition? And, you know, even if it's like Bridget said, just that you're honest and straightforward and authentic, that makes you pretty different right there, believe it or not. So everything works.
All right, Maddie, that's a wrap. There was a lot of gold nuggets there today. I wanted to thank our special guest, Dave the Legend Lawson out of Park City. If anybody has anyone going to Park City or is looking for a second home or primary, refer them to Dave. Craig, you know, I love cheesesteaks lurch out of Philly. Cameron, I'm not feeling so hot down in Florida. We got Dennis DeSouza out of Bird Rock, California, which is in La Jolla. Randy's in PB. Maddie's up in Carlsbad. And the rose between all the thorns, Bridget Young, who's in sunny San Diego and selling listings and commercial, and she's doing it all. She does it all. So I want to thank everyone, even Brian Yarber, for coming in from his fly fishing and giving some great advice. Guys, let's keep ramping it up. Let's stay positive. There's a lot of things happening in this market. It's all in how your outlook is and how you do it every day. Start every day at zero, win the day. Put this stuff into action, be consistent, and I'm telling you, you'll 5-10x your production, and that's what it's all about. Lead with production. You'll have a more balanced, happier life, and if there's anything any of us can do for you, please don't hesitate to call. Be on the call next week. We're going to have an exciting topic. We're going to show you how to get more business in these types of shifting markets so you don't get disheartened and get pushed to the sidelines. We got to get going, all right? Wanted to thank everybody for being on. Thanks again.